February 25th, 2020. This is Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of That's What G Said podcast. Let's talk about the rundown for the show. We're going to talk a little Wilder Fury. We'll recap the fight. A couple notes on the Dodgers. Then we'll get into some NBA. We'll talk a little bit about that Kobe Memorial. And we'll close things out with some Sam Houston Wednesday analysis. Before we get into anything, it is hot as hell. If you're in Southern California right now, 80 plus degrees where I'm at over in the Pasadena area. Just after it's been a little cool for a while, you get an 80 to pop up and you're just feels like 110. But we complain about weather in California. We're prima donnas for the most part. It's either too cold when it's not cold. It's too hot when it's it does get hot though, and then it'll be too hot. When it's raining, that's when it's the worst. Any unexpected water, no thanks. But the weather starting to heat up as we get into March, which I have to admit, the March is the best month of the year. It's because it's the month that this guy was born. Oh yeah, this guy, the birth month. Okay, who watched the Wilder Fury fight? It was a one-sided beatdown, was it not? Fury. I'm going to read through a little bit of an article that I found. It's kind of some notes there. Like, one of the greatest comebacks in sports history. He knocked out Wilder in the 7th round, and he now adds the WBC heavyweight championship. The Gypsy King Tyson Fury, who wrestled in WWE earlier this year. He had a match in the Saudi Arabia show, and he still has a really good relationship with WWE. Don't be surprised if you see him make an appearance sometime soon, or maybe at some point after he's done boxing. But the thing about Tyson is Tyson Fury is the story of him, his struggles, his past, and then his personality, his kind of magnetism as a whole. He's very charismatic, and he was, singing after just knocking out Wilder. He's just singing in the ring, Miss American Pie with the audience, and basically putting on a karaoke show. What was really interesting about the approach and going into this fight, Fury had replaced his trainer, the man who kind of helped him get through all the struggles when he had gained 100 pounds. He was addicted to drugs. He wanted to kill himself. The man who helped him get through all that, he replaced him. And his new approach was pack on a little bit more weight for this fight. He ate more. He ate 6 meals. He drank 8 liters a day. He was looking for that size advantage. He weighed in at 273. Wilder was weighing in at 231. And both of them come into this fight undefeated. Their only blemish was when they had a draw against each other previously. And so you think, they have a draw. Both sides felt like they won because it felt like Fury, in the first fight, they really lived up to the reputation of their strengths and their weaknesses. In that Fury, more of a boxer, seemed like he won more rounds in the fight, but Wilder was able to knock Fury down a couple times, and this time it was just not close. From the beginning, Fury looked much quicker. It looked like the added weight was kind of a little too much for Wilder, and now we've found out a little bit more in days since why he thinks he looked a little bit slower. We'll get to that in just a second, but let's go through the fight a little bit. It was the first time in 10 years that Wilder was knocked down. And he was knocked down twice in this fight by Fury. And remember, going into the fight, Fury had said, I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to knock him down. And everybody kind of thought he was laughing and joking. He said he was going to do it in the second round. But he really did have a much more aggressive approach. By the 6th, Wilder was bleeding from the ear, and his legs were just gone. Threw in the towel at 139 mark of the 7th round when his assistant trainer threw in the towel. one of the more impressive fights I can remember seeing in this kind of a big fight, as he was a slight underdog in the fight going in, Fury. And he was just so much more offensive in this fight. And he, a little bit, just kind of a tad slow to start, a little feel-out process, but it wasn't long before you could tell that Wilder was just a little bit, he just wasn't quick. He wasn't moving very well. To start the third, Wilder got dropped. Big right, the quick jab, and it was only the second time that he's been on the floor as a professional boxer, and the first time that was a decade ago, 30 fights ago. Now Wilder's bleeding from the ear. Fifth round, his legs are completely gone, and he's just kind of like swinging. And then in the sixth, it was, he just continued to, Fury just pours it on midway through the seventh. Wilder's assistant trainer threw in the towel, and the head trainer disagreed. So now there's been some battling in the Wilder camp. Wilder did not want him to throw in the towel. He said he's always been the kind of fighter who is willing to kill someone in the ring. He's willing to die himself, because that's what he's a warrior. He feels like he'll go out on his shield, and that's what the head trainer had said. Mark threw the towel. I don't think that he should have. Fury was 82 for 267 punches, 30%, compared to only 34 punches landed for Wilder of 141, which is 24%. That's from CompuBox. 58 power shots in less than 7 full rounds for Fury, and he only hit 38 of those in the entire first fight. He was the winner of all but one round on all three judges' scorecards at the time. Wilder earned the same $25 million purse for Saturday's fight, with the potential, for more based on pay-per-view receipts. It was his first defeat in 44 pro fights. Wilder said, "The best man won tonight. I can make no excuses. I had a lot of complications, but we'll come back around and we'll look stronger last time out." And now, so Fury, who's been the lineal champion, he was never defeated for his championships. He had to give them up because of his struggles, testing positive, drug issues, and now he's held the WBC, he's held the WBA, the WBO, the IBF titles. He won those in 2015 when he beat Klitschko, and he never lost them. Now Anthony Joshua has those belts, and that's going to be the next big fight after what looks like the rematch that we're going to get. Here's the latest from the Wilder Fury fallout. Wilder wanted to make his ring. This is from Kevin Ioli. Wilder wanted to make his ring walk prior to the fight on Saturday's special. He wore a 40-pound costume as a tribute to Black History Month, but Wilder said the costume was too heavy and the reason he didn't have his legs under him in the 7th round loss to Fury. He will go to Africa at the end of March on vacation. He plans to exercise his rematch clause for a third fight with Fury. So, yeah, there was a rematch clause, and they will have a Fury-Wilder 3, it looks like. Wilder is upset with assistant trainer Mark Breland for throwing in the towel to stop the fight. He suggested that Breland will no longer be a part of the team. So the assistant trainer who threw in the towel, he's gone. He was displeased with the work of referee Kenny Bayless, who took a point from Fury in the 5th round, but he went out of his way to congratulate Fury. Yeah, it was kind of weird. He's still Wilder, where he's kind of starting to make a few, I don't want to say excuses, complaints, and then he makes an excuse after this. He's definitely very, very complimentary of Fury. He never says that he would have won. He just kind of makes excuses, or maybe gives us reasons for why he wasn't as sharp. Wilder was knocked down in the 3rd round of the heavyweight fight by a straight right hand, then again in the 5th with a left hook to the body. His balance seemed off for much of the fight. He slipped several times and went down. He said he wasn't hurt by the punches and wanted the chance to continue. "He didn't hurt me at all," this is a quote from Wilder, "but the simple fact is my uniform was way too heavy for me. I didn't have no legs from the beginning of the fight. In the 3rd round, my legs were just shot all the way through, but I'm a warrior, and people know that I'm a warrior. A lot of people are telling me it looked like something was wrong with you. Something was, but when you're in the ring, you have to bluff a lot of things. I tried my best to do so, but I know I didn't have the legs because of my uniform. I was able to put it on for the first time the night before, but I didn't think it was going to be that heavy. It weighed 40-some pounds with the helmet, all the batteries. I wanted my tribute to be great for Black History Month. I wanted to be good, and I guess I put that before anything." So He's saying the reason why he looked wobbly and he wasn't quite as quick and sharp had nothing to do with extra weight on his body that he gained. It had to do with the extra weight that he wore to the ring in his ring entrance, where we saw 2 amazing ring entrances. That's the thing about Fury, right? Not only is he a very good fighter, but you also get everything else. You get the pomp and circumstance. You get him being carried down to the ring. You get him winning. You get him singing after the ring. You get him kind of talking smack, but you get a guy who's been through the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. People can relate to him. A lot of people deal with mental illness and depression and some of the things that Fury's been through, addiction. And so you're able to really relate to a guy who's at the top of his craft now, and he's got this incredible personality, and looks like we're going to get a Wilder Fury 3 at some point. This was from Wilder. I'm super happy for Tyson Fury. I really want to give him my complete congratulations. He's had a lot of great accomplishments in his career, and this is right there with all of them. Very excited about his career and what he's done. He deserves a lot of credit. And these guys like each other. Fury says, very, very complimentary stuff about Wilder also. He's going to be back. He'll be a champion again. And Dan Rafael article, they said about the rematch from Wilder, we're definitely going to exercise it. We fought to a disputed draw with Fury 14 months ago. We're looking forward to it. I'm a warrior and a true champion, and I fight like that every bit of the way. We're definitely going on with it, that's for sure, by the summertime. So both sides had the right to invoke an immediate third fight regardless of the result. This was, definitely a big one-sided fight, but it was a big fight. It was a big deal. I don't think it was bad because it wasn't a bad fight. It was just a dominating fight, right? Neither guy was, it wasn't like a fight where both guys are a little bit tentative. Nobody's really throwing any punches. Nobody really wants to get knocked out. It was just a beatdown, which that's not bad. And it wasn't a 1 round or early knockout. It went 7 rounds, but it was just watching a really good boxer pick apart someone who just didn't seem 100% prepared as Fury was. And so now you think about this rematch and then the fight with Anthony Joshua. That's going to be what's coming up next for Fury. And we heard the longtime trainer and boxing commentator Teddy Atlas compare Tyson Fury to Muhammad Ali. He said he's Ali. He kind of prefaced it with saying, is he, as big, as well known as Ali, or, is he maybe not quite as good overall as Ali, but he's the world heavyweight champion. He has this unbelievable charisma. He is able to connect with people on this innate level that a lot of, world heavyweight champion boxers kind of can't do. He just seems like a regular guy. And he's smart, he's eloquent, he's flawed. Anybody that's flawed, I think, is always, I appreciate seeing someone's struggles or just knowing their struggles, because we all have struggles, right? And anyone that looks like they're perfect, we know that they're probably not. Whatever issues they have to deal with, whatever crosses they bear, they have, they deal with them in the private of their own home. But when we see someone's out in public, I respect them a lot more, even because it's hard to be out in the public a lot. And Fury has just been up and down, and now he's up again, and hopefully for a long time to stay as the heavyweight champ. There'll be a rematch with Wilder coming up. Again, we'll find out soon, and then hopefully, if Fury wins that, or we'll see what happens in the Wilder Fury 3 fight, Anthony Joshua will be next, and we can get a real undisputed heavyweight champion. There's interest again now in the heavyweight division in boxing. Tyson Fury is interesting. He's fun. He's charismatic. I like him. I'm paying attention. He was one of the 3, of these guys between Fury, Wilder, and Joshua are the ones that kind of got me back in being interested again in the heavyweight division, and really Fury with everything he brings. Let's shift over just a few quick thoughts on some Dodger stuff that I've heard. Really good stuff from everyone talking about how Mookie Betts has been received early on from the team. Apparently he came in and addressed the club right away. He's getting there before anyone else. He's out there really early, and the players really seem to respond very well. Justin Turner absolutely loved it. He said the first week he's here, he's getting early, he's getting out before guys were getting going. We didn't really have that many conversations with him. We just kind of assumed he was a quiet guy. Then day one, you realize you were way off. He's proactive. He goes, let's get in front of this. Day one is as urgent as Game 7 of the World Series. It was awesome. And then Kiki Hernandez talks about how the first day of spring training he addressed us as a group, and he doesn't even know us. That's not easy to do the way he did. He said, this is how I play the game, and we all respected the heck out of him for it. And Kiki said it made him feel like make me feel like I'm really looking forward to playing a full season and being around him and seeing the type of leader he is. After hearing that, he's not just going to be impactful on the field, he's going to be impactful in the clubhouse. So really great reports on everything in Dodgerland from Mookie Betts so far. One unfortunate thing is like every day there's more and more that keeps coming out about the Astros stuff, right? So today, the baseball reporter, analyst, writer Tom Verducci was on MLB Network, and I guess this is yesterday, right? So this is Monday. So he's on MLB Network, and he went back and watched after we've now found out that the Astros were cheating throughout the playoffs, were cheating throughout baseball playoffs, were cheating throughout the World Series in 2017. We find out that in that Game 5, the Game 5 of the World Series. Now, keep in mind, in Game 1 of the World Series, Kershaw was awesome. Game 5, he's terrible. In fact, he throws 51 sliders and curveballs and got 0 swings and misses. The odds of that accidentally not even having 1 or 2 swings and misses after having just completely dominated them in Game 1 of the World Series. In Game 1 of the 2017 World Series, Kershaw went 7 innings, gave up 3 hits and 1 run. He struck out 11. Dodgers won that game 3-1. In Game 5 of the 2017 World Series, then, the Dodgers lose the game 13-12. He goes 4 2/3 inning. He gives up 4 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, only 2 strikeouts after having just struck out 11 a few days prior. And then, in Game 7 of the World Series, back at Dodger Stadium, where it was probably a little bit harder for them to cheat, he comes in relief and goes 4 innings and gives up 2 hits and no runs and strikes out 4. So isn't it strange that Kershaw, who, he gets the crap for being the guy who never delivers in the playoffs. And then you go look at, there's a tweet that I always post out, and it's John Wiseman, and he's got all of his postseason starts listed, and more than half of them are excellent. And then there's another chunk that are very good, and there's just a chunk of 4 or 5 that are bad. It's like anything. You see kind of a young guy who was kind of asked to do a lot early on in his career when the Dodgers didn't have as good of teams. But then what sucks now is these 2017, 2018 years when the Dodgers had their best teams, we just never know. Now we know that they were cheated. 51 pitches between sliders and curveballs, and they did not swing and miss one time. Not one time. We knew they had all the information. They knew exactly what was coming. There's just going to continue to be more and more that comes out. Now the only thing the Dodgers can do is go back and play some baseball and hopefully win this year, and hopefully Kershaw can get a World Series one of these next few years and kind of get that monkey off of his back. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be back and we'll talk a little NBA here on That's What G Said. Just wanted to remind you about one of the sponsors of That's What G Said podcast, Sarah Candle Company. Visit sarahcandles.com, C-E-R-A candles.com. Use the promo code GINO for 10% off of your entire purchase. These are all-natural soy wax candles. They burn longer. They are better for you than the candles out there that have that traditional paraffin wax. I know the people from this company personally. I've grown up with them my whole life. They love candles, and the goal was to have an affordable candle that everyone can enjoy. Use that promo code GINO. My favorite is Fresh Roses. The Fresh Roses scent is awesome. If you're a horse racing fan, they got Del Mar in there. You ever want to know what Del Mar smells like, but you couldn't make it out there? Order your candle right now from Sarah Candle Company. The website, CERA candles.com. SarahCandles.com. Promo code GINO for 10% off your purchase. So just some quick NBA thoughts on where was I wrong, where was I right, or what were some of the things that surprised me the most so far. We only have about 25 games left for a lot of these teams. So obviously I think you have to start in the East, and you have to just, every time you talk about the league right now, you have to mention Milwaukee and just give them credit for what they're doing. And I don't think enough people are talking about the Bucks because they just keep winning and they just kind of do it. It's funny, they do it under the radar. They have a plus 12.2 point differential. They've won 3 games in a row again. They're 26-3 at home. This team is incredible. Even when Giannis is off the floor, they're not playing even their stars and their starters a ton of minutes. They are well coached. They play great defense. They shoot the ball. They can just beat you up. And they have. They have a 7-game lead in the Eastern Conference right now. The Toronto Raptors, I actually thought they would still be good. I don't think I thought they would be this good. I don't think they would be, the current second seed and have, put together a couple really nice win streaks. They beat the Lakers earlier this year. They're deep, and they send in players. They play so hard every single night. They're pretty well balanced. They have a couple really good wing players who can, D you up, then go get theirs. We've seen Siakam take a leap. When Van Fleet's in the mix, he's taken another leap. Lowry is a good leader for this squad. This is a good basketball team. They're going to be a tough out for anyone. I'm still not quite as high on them as maybe a couple other teams in the East, but Boston's better than I thought they would be. I think we could probably have predicted Boston would be somewhere in, the 3, 4, 5, 6, as far as the playoffs are concerned before. But I think their team is better. The more that Jason Tatum continues to grow, and that's why. Because even earlier in the year when they were good and they were kind of, they had a good record, I didn't know what their ceiling was because Tatum wasn't really playing that great. He had a really bad year last year. Beginning of this year was okay. He was a little inefficient. He has taken an unbelievable step forward in the last month. What he's done against the Lakers, against the Clippers, prior to that for a few weeks running, he's a great defender. His range from 3 is improving, and he's hitting just really tough shots. But the key is that he's getting to the rim, and he's finishing at the rim a lot better and a lot more than he did previously. He still has to work on passing out of the double team and playmaking a little bit, but he is definitely a star, and I was really low on him last year, mainly because he was he was talked about like he was like the best prospect in the entire league for a while, and I was kind of scratching my head because he hadn't really progressed at all. He has taken more of a step in the last month than he did in 2 years. So, and he played well his rookie year in the playoffs. We'll see if he likes that big stage because he's just seemed to really light up when he's had to play, some of the toughest opponents. Miami's struggling a little bit after some of the moves they made trying to incorporate Iguodala and some of their new pieces. And then Philly, is probably one of the bigger disappointments on the year. They're still 36-22. They're 27-2 at home, but they are 9-20 on the road. For a good team, they just don't care when they go on the road. They're better than that. Is that something that's going to hold through into the playoffs? They're inconsistent on the road, but at home they're basically unbeatable. Pacers kind of felt like where they should be. The Nets, what a miserable disaster of a year with Kyrie now out for the year, and who knows if his body is going to quite hold up, and we'll see what happens next year when Durant comes back, but they're in the 7th slot. Orlando's in the 8th spot. I think of the teams that aren't good, the one that surprised me the most, I expected a little more from Atlanta. They were really feisty towards the end of last year. It looked like they were kind of well coached, and they were taking steps forward, progressing, and they've been one of the worst teams in the league this year. They've just kind of been the Trae Young show. And then over in the West, the biggest surprise to me is the Thunder. They are a good basketball team. Chris Paul has really led this team. Gilgeous-Alexander takes a nice step. Gallinari is just a good piece to have there. And they're a team that's been overachieving. Most of us figured they would just be a bad team and end up trying to get rid of Chris Paul. Some people were assuming that he would just get bought out or cut or whatever. It wouldn't be a buyout because he had a ton of money left on his contract. But this is a good basketball team. Right now, they would, if the season ended today, they would be the 6th seed, and they would be in a first-round series against the Clippers. You know how much fun I'm sure that would be for Oklahoma City, playing against the Clippers, where the Clippers just made the trade with Oklahoma City to get Paul George. So you're going to have Shea, you're going to have Danilo Gallinari playing against the Clippers and Paul George. You're going to have Chris Paul playing against his old team in the Clippers. That would be a ton of fun. The Grizzlies are another one who they're starting to struggle a little bit lately. They've lost 3 games, and they've not looked very good coming out of the All-Star break. They've lost 3 in a row, but they're still in the A seed. They're still 2.5 games ahead of and 3 in the loss column ahead of Portland and the Pelicans. And the Pelicans and Zion, they are rolling right now. Zion, I'll raise my hand and say right now he's better than I thought he would ever be. I wasn't sure. I think with Zion, some of the knocks on him can still be true for a while, were that his durability, right? Is he going to be, how much is he going to be able to hold up like a season or playing against top-level talent? But he's been unstoppable, just incredible. And then, what happened with the Warriors with their injuries. The Kings have been kind of a disappointing team. A lot of people assumed they'd be battling for a playoff spot. They would have to really play well down the stretch to make up about 5 games or so to get into the playoffs. The Suns had a good start to the year, but they've struggled. So I think the biggest surprises to me throughout the NBA season is the circled Oklahoma City Thunder. They are just so much better than I think anybody expected, and what a job Chris Paul has done over there revamping himself, right? He's got the plant-based diet going on now. And then in the East, I guess you could say a few. I'd probably put the Raptors up there with just how good they've been without Kawhi. Think about that. They lose Kawhi. They lose Danny Green. And it's like nothing. Just like nothing. It's always difficult, to talk about like the sad stuff, on a show. But we had that Kobe memorial yesterday, and it was very powerful. Touched on a few minutes, just some of the things that stood out to me, the people that spoke, and we saw how big deal Kobe was to women's basketball with Coach Chino Auriemma from UConn, talking about Kobe, calling him all the time and asking him about rotations for 12 and 13-year-old girls, and then we saw Taurasi come up, and she's the best player in the history of the WNBA, and she's talking about the impact that Kobe had on her. And she mentions, Gia and what a complete game she had for such a young girl, and how she already had a turnaround jumper. And she takes a shot at LeBron, which was funny. She mentions that LeBron just got his turnaround last year, which is great because LeBron had just hit the turnaround jumper to win against the Celtics on Sunday. And she was great. And then Sabrina, who just was able to become was able to hit a feat, an unbelievable feat, where she is the first ever. Let me pull this up. I just want to make sure I give her fair due. She is the first player ever to score 2,000 points, have 1,000 assists, and 1,000 rebounds in college basketball, male or female. She's absolutely phenomenal. And she talked about how she still texts Kobe every day. and she just hopes that he's going to respond, or just because she doesn't want to think about him not responding. And Vanessa Bryant, Kobe's wife, the mother of Gia, she talked, and she was so strong and so powerful. I don't know how she did it. I really don't. With all the loss she's had, and she went up there in front of everyone with this thing being broadcasted all over, and she just gave an incredible speech about Kobe and her daughter, and we got to find out some things about both of them that we probably didn't know, and some funny and some goofy things, and then we heard from Kobe's best friend Rob Pelinka, who's the GM of the Lakers, and he told stories, and he told a great one of how after Kobe retired from basketball, they went and they picked up tennis, and he said they were playing tennis against each other, and at the beginning Rob was a little bit better than Kobe. Neither one had really played a lot, and so then the next time that they played, Kobe just destroyed Rob, and he apparently had been getting a ton of lessons from the tennis pro. That's just the stories we hear about Kobe. To me, the most of all the speakers, Michael Jordan was the one that hit me the hardest, because we just saw this raw emotion from Michael Jordan. We saw him talk about how, he's never been, the biggest, especially recently. You just don't see him out there talking a whole lot anymore. And he's not going to go shower praise on everyone. And I don't think he liked a lot of, through his life, a lot of the comparisons with Kobe and to Kobe. And you could see as Kobe got a little bit older and a little bit longer into the league, Michael, I think, started to appreciate him a lot more. And this speech from Michael was just incredible. He talked about, Kobe is annoying him. He's calling him at 3 a.m, asking him about post-up moves, and then he's asking him, what are you thinking when you're a kid at 12 years old, and you're trying to, work on your game and this and that. And he said he was like my annoying little brother who just knew how to get under my skin. But he said that he brought out the best in me because he wanted me. He wanted to be better than me. He wanted to do everything that I did, or he thought that I was, the one to model himself after. And it was just really, really powerful stuff. And then, of course, he made a crack about how he's up there crying, and now there's going to be a new crying Jordan meme for the next, few years. And it was excellent. And then Shaq, I believe, closed it out, and he was funny, like you could imagine. He gave a couple really good stories about, young Kobe. He said that, Robert Horry and Rick Fox and some of them were telling Shaq one time that, Kobe's not, he's not passing the ball a whole lot. Go tell something, go talk to him about it. So Shaq goes and talks to Kobe, and he says, Kobe, man, you got to pass the ball a little bit. There's no I in team. And Kobe's response was, yeah, but there's a me, motherfucker. and that was great. And that sounds like Kobe. And, he said something to Shaq like, I'm out here playing chess and everyone's playing checkers. And Shaq and Kobe have definitely got along a lot more later in life. I think they both realized woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? What could have been. They could have won, maybe 5, 6, 8, 10 titles together. Who knows? But different personalities early on, and we saw Kobe really start to soften up later in his life. And it was a celebration of life. What we've seen, too, it was sad because it kind of opened up all the feelings from, a couple weeks ago, which felt like we were starting to not move on, but just kind of move forward. But this was very sad, but it was very, I think it was necessary for a lot of people to get out there to get these stories out, to kind of celebrate together one last time. Not the last time. I'm sure Kobe's going to be celebrated many, many times moving forward, but just kind of all together celebrate the life of Kobe and Gia. So one last Laker note before we shift on into Sam Houston. The Lakers do acquire Markeiff Morris, and this was a really, I think, a big move for the Lakers. And not that Markeiff is going to, score 30 a game or maybe even play 30 minutes. It just gives them something that they don't have. Someone, another, defender that they can throw at some wings. He would have been getting some minutes on Jason Tatum the other night. He'll be getting some minutes on Kawhi and Paul George and whoever the number ones from the other team, Giannis. and he's someone that you can throw another 6 fouls at someone. He's a tough guy. He's aggressive. He can score. He's shooting nearly 40% from 3 this year. A lot of his grades for the things that the Lakers need, he can, make a play or two. He can kind of get a shot for himself if need be. And he just gives you a little size and a little toughness. He's the brother of Markeiff Morris, who the Clippers just acquired. And why I like this deal for the Lakers, even a little bit more than I like the one for the Clippers, even though Markeiff might be the better player, I think Markeiff brings a little bit more to the Lakers what they needed. And the Lakers were able to get this deal done without giving anybody up. This was just a buyout. They cut DeMarcus Cousins, who was not going to play the rest of the year, and DeMarcus Cousins is still looking like he's working out with the Lakers and going to be, probably back with the Lakers next year. So you're able to get rid of someone who hasn't played a minute for you all year and isn't going to play this year, and you bring in someone who could be a really nice part of your, 7-8 man rotation. I like this move quite a bit. Our friend Alex Regla, who we had on the show a few weeks back, he pointed out a couple real interesting things. At 6'8", he joins LeBron and Kuzma as the only current non-bigs that are at least 6'7". So we have now another big wing. That's something that this team kind of gets exposed on against the teams that have really good wings. This was a quote from Markeiff Morris, who said, "Some teams don't like the physical play. Some people don't like being fouled hard. At the end of the day, it's a physical sport. It's a man sport. We're going to do things. We're going to do the right things, but we're not trying to hurt anybody. But sometimes you're going to have to pay for getting into the paint. We just want to make you feel us more." He is posting career shooting numbers this year with Detroit, and what Alex is pointing out is it's probably because of how he's changed his shot selection and his shot profile. He's taking way more what are called money ball shots, which are either a three-pointer or a shot coming right at the rim. These are known as the high percentage shots. It's what a lot of these teams are doing now. You either want the, right at the rim, or three-pointer, you're kind of eliminating the mid-range. So Alex is mentioning that this change, coupled with also being assisted on his makes more than any other season, signals his ability to play off others. And on this team with LeBron going to be on the court for 40 minutes, he's going to be getting assisted on a lot of his shot takes. He will get more chances to do this next to the Lakers star, and it could mean he improves even further. The biggest area where Morris can help is simply by helping players slide into more appropriate spots. Morris even mentioned today that he is happy to be there because it's going to help move Kuzma to the 3. Kuzma is a bigger player than you think, but he doesn't do well when he has to guard up and has to guard bigger. Kuzma actually does very well when he has to guard someone that's a little bit smaller than him, because Kuzma has good footwork when you watch him. And you watch his offensive game, he has good footwork. He's long and he's not slow, so his size is able to kind of disrupt. Some. He actually did a really good job guarding Jason Tatum the other day when they put him on Tatum. He's done a decent job sometimes when you throw him on Kawhi. He did a decent job in one of the games when you threw him on Westbrook, because his length will bother them a little bit, and he, as a scorer, kind of knows some things to take away. And it's an effort thing, too. Kuzma gives you effort. So he's going to be at the wing now, and that's able to put a little bit more. It's able to put Morris over at the 4, and that's going to help the whole team and just the rotation. And it's just going to give this team a lot more options here. And what's nice is that if Morris is nothing, if he struggles and he doesn't really make a dent, the Lakers didn't give up anything for him. And he's not someone that they're going to expect to play or even expects to play heavy minutes. He's kind of come in here knowing what his role is going to be, and he seems to really accept it. So he's going to be playing against his brother, who's over on the Clippers. That should be fun when the Morrises go head up and head up. Let's take a quick break here, and then we're going to get on over to Sam Houston. One of the sponsors of That's What G Said podcast is Cindy Carava, full-service realtor, and I am here over in Glendora at Coldwell Banker with Cindy Carava. Cindy, how was 2019 for you? Tell us a little bit about what kind of stuff you were working on.
Hi, Gino. Thanks for having me. 2019 was just really great. I had a great year selling homes all the way from Altadena, Arcadia, Monrovia, out to Upland and Ontario just recently. The market has been really good. We're looking forward to 2020 with an increase in home prices about 5.8% this year, opposed to last year where it was a little softer. We saw more like homes averaging about 3.5% in increase in value. It's also looking great for buyers. The interest rates right now are going to be staying under 4%. So if you've been on the fence about thinking about buying a home, now is the time to do so with interest rates still staying low.
And you offer more services than just the buying, selling, and leasing homes. Tell us about some of the other services that you offer and what a full-service realtor really is.
So you're right, Gino. Besides me being a full-service realtor of finding properties for my clients to buy or selling their homes or finding rentals for them, I also have a plethora of resources like handyman, contractors, electricians, plumbers. I even, if you're thinking about getting a home loan, I actually work with 2 great lenders that I can recommend to anybody.
And you're all over the internet, social media, websites. Let us know some of the places where we can find you. I know I've seen some reviews on Yelp and on Zillow. Everyone always has positive things to say. Everybody hears me raving about you all the time. But where can everyone else find out information about you or contact?
Thank you, Gino. Yeah, I am on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. And you can contact me on my website, which is www.cindycarava.com, or my email, which is cindyc.realtor@gmail.com, or feel free to call or text me on my cell phone, which is 626-394-6400.
Cindy is awesome. She's one of the kindest and most genuine people I've ever met. I promise you, you will enjoy every minute you interact with her. So thank you very much, Cindy. Appreciate all of your support from That's What She Said podcast.
Thank you, Gino. Have a great day, everyone.
Okay, get your past performances out. Let's talk some Wednesday. Sammy Houston. Let's get to race number 1 in here, and we'll play a pick 3. Starting in race number 1, these are maidens, $25,000 claimers. They're going to go a mile on the main track. Let's go to the 7 in here to start with Quinella. Quinella, Ella, A, after my Quinella. She most recently faced better against maiden special weights, going 7 furlongs. But let's go back to the two-back effort where she's a good second coming from off the pace in the slop. Even last start, you break a few lengths off, and then she gets hooked 4 deep and makes a move all the way up to challenge before fading. It really wasn't bad. Now you're going to go third start off the short break. You're going to drop in class. You're going to stretch out. You're probably able to show a little bit more speed in here. You know, I look up and down this race. There's not a ton of speed, right? Where is the early speed going to come from? Maybe the 3. Cecilia is a gem. I think the 7 from the outside is either going to be right on the lead or sitting very, very close. Let's put the number 7, Quinella, on top. We'll make we'll pay $3 to win on this one if we can get anything over, 3-1. And I have this race 7-2-5, Spectacular Temper, the obvious one to beat for Carl Broberg. I will use in some early pick 3s, and then the 5, Super Legs, if you want to go and use one more there. Super Legs also coming out of that very same race on February the 8th. I actually just thought Super Legs kind of, ran up late, whereas Quinella was involved in the race and took a big shot before fading. So I much prefer Quinella out of that one. We will play a pick 3 starting in race number 1. We'll get to that at the end when we go through the wagers. Pick 4 starts in race number 2 at Sam Houston. These are Texas bred maidens, 25,000. These are going 5.5 furlongs, and I like the 4 in here, A Midnight Gift. I just think this is really, really the one to catch who's going to go second start of the year. Hadn't raced since August. That was over at Retama. Comes into Sam Houston on February the 8th. Speed, fade, was facing better too. That was maiden special weight, Texas breds. Now you're going to get the drop in class. You're going to get the cutback. You have Speed, who should be much fitter now with that race under their belt. I'm expecting this Speed to go a lot longer. A Midnight Gift going to be the top selection in here. If you just look at a horse like this, he hasn't ever really gotten an opportunity to get some flow, to get a couple races under his belt. I think he'll take a nice step forward here on the drop-in class. The 4, A Midnight Gift. The 7, Wild and Golden. Let's look at the 2-back start at this level against the maiden 25,000 claimers. that January 25th race when the runner-up, just a repeat of that, it would put him right on the wire. That would make him really, really tough in here. The 2 is the one, that's the morning line favorite, but he has not raced since August of 2018. I am completely okay with taking a shot against him. I think one of the logical horses to use getting back to the main track is the 3, Expect a Cat, who raced at Sunland and Zia and just has a couple competitive races there against softer, but at least he's done some okay things. So I'm 4-7-3 in race number 2. We'll use those 3. I have the 4 on top, a midnight gift, but really we'll take a little swing against 40, who has not raced in, coming up on 2 years. We're talking about a horse who hasn't been on the track since August of 2018. So 4-7-3 in race number 2. In the third race, 25,000 claimers, non-winners of 2, 5 furlongs the distance. I like the 11, Bob's Bad Boy, another one who came off a very long layoff on February the 1st. And Bob's Bad Boy actually had a good start, but everyone wanted to go for the lead. So he was kind of behind horses in between, and then he went down to the rail. He started to move well, but he was in tight. You look at the race, it really wasn't that bad. He wasn't beaten a whole heck of a lot. It was his first start since September of 2018. Now he's going to go second start off the long layoff. Parker jumps aboard. I think Bob's Bad Boy is a must-use in all exotics. If we can get, 5-1 or over, I think he's a play in here. We'll use the 7, Commanding Candy, in all exotics. This one just comes in from Fairgrounds and from Churchill for Carl Broberg and has been facing better. So on the cutback in here, should be rolling late. The 9, Mohawk, is probably the one to beat. Just a repeat of that last effort would make him very, very tough in here. And then you have the 4, Honus, who's the speed, a first-time gelding, who should be flashing some of that early pace, but he did prove last time out that he can sit off a little bit if need be. So, if a couple of the horses to his inside show some speed, Honus might be able to sit off and also kind of get a jump on some of the deeper closers. So 11, 7, 9, 4 in race number 3 at Sam Houston. Let's get to race number 4, and we'll go to the 3 in here. Frankly Fun. I think this guy's going to sit close. You're able to look at the only other real speed in here is he's a Ranger, and I don't think he's quite as good as Frankly Fun. So we'll use the 3, who cutting back to 6 furlongs. If he's able to sit close cutting back, he might be really, really tough to pass late in here. The number 7, Toasting Master, no doubt the one to beat, coming in off of 3 consecutive runner-up efforts, and all of those were against better. The 5, Long Station, makes a lot of sense if you look at the 2 races at the level. Right here at Sam Houston was just a runner-up and was your beaten favorite, and he makes a lot of sense in here for top-notch connections, Asmussen, Aramia. And then the 2, Dominate. That December 6th race at Remington Park was not bad. It's just the last 2 starts, one of them for the new connections. You have to see more from Dominate, but I think it's interesting that Parker decides to take another shot aboard Dominate. So we'll throw this one in maybe some of the under parts of the exotics. 3, 7, 5, 2. I'll have 3 and 7 in all exotics in here with Frankly Fun and Toasting Master. Race number 5. The 9 is the one that everyone's probably going to single in some early exotics, and Lady Shaman was extremely impressive. She was battling all the way around the racetrack. She put the speed away, and then she was geared down late. It was really, really impressive. And she's drawn to the outside, so she can sit a little bit. But wow, is there a lot of speed on here in this race? You can legitimately envision, this race being run where almost every horse to her inside flash speed. The 8, Breeze Wider, wants to go. The 7, Ricky's Gift, wants to go. The 6, Royal Priority, wants to go. The 5, Always in the Money, wants to go. The 4, Sweet Mary M, wants to go. The 3, Boston Cadillac, wants to go. The 2, Cedar Hall, wants to go. What does that mean? The other Calhoun has a huge shot in here. Big Tiny. I'm going to put the 1 on top of the 9. I'll just use these 2 in all of the exotics, so I'll just use the 2 Calhoun horses in here. But the 1, Big Tiny, in her last start, she broke well. She tracked from 3 off. She was in between. Then she got shuffled back. She was in a tight spot. She was back to 7th. She was up against the rail. And then she angled off the rail, and she really moved well late for 3rd. I like Big Tiny in here quite a bit. I think because everyone else to her outside is going to go, she can kind of drop back. I don't think she'll get the shuffle from the inside, and she looks like the real true closer in this field. If the 9's not just better, the 1 gets the trip. Let's go 1 and 9 we'll use in all the exotics, and we'll make a win wager on Big Tiny. If we can get like 5-1 or so, she should really get the benefit of a race that looks to be packed and loaded with speed. Race number 6 at Sam Houston, non-3 allowance on the turf course in here. I'm going to start with the 7, Destiny Awaits, who's going to go second start off the bench. You have a 5-year-old in here who was racing over at Delta, at Remington prior to that. But look at the grass form. There were only 3 races on the grass. There were a 2nd and a 3rd at Fairgrounds, going a mile and a 16th. Against maiden 30s. The last one you see on the page is a 3rd at Evangeline, which was really solid in a similar type spot. I think Destiny Awaits. Sometimes you get these horses who haven't been on the grass for a while and people kind of forget. This one has some turf ability. This is a horse who was won on the dirt going a mile, so distance should be no problem for Destiny Awaits now. Going 2nd off the short break. Let's put the 7 on top in here and use all of our exotics. The 1A Sports Fan would be my runner-up and probably the most logical winner of this race. So I think the 7 we'll use on top of the 1A in all exotics. The number 3, Easter Snap, adding the blinks, returning to the grass where he's been good. I think he's a use in your exotics. The 6, Fluminous, will come running late for Asmussen. He's faced better, and I think you can still give him a couple chances on the grass. He hasn't been that bad in his couple grass starts. He's actually stakes placed in one of them. The 5, Dauntless Prince, if you want to go even a little deeper, was just beaten against Claimers, but wouldn't be a shock in kind of some of the under spots in here. So I'm 7, 1A, 3, 6, 5. I'll put them in that order. I would probably use 1, 3, 6, and 7 in your exotics, and we'll talk about some pick 4s and possibly even a pick 5 when we finish up here. So let's move to race number 7. And we'll go to the number 7, Tough. She was your favorite last time out in a similar claiming race, 10-on-2. And she wanted to get more involved early, but a lot of other horses did too. So she ended up behind horses and somehow down on the inside. She was kept to the inside. She got steadied when she wanted to run. You know what? It was a better effort than it looks like on paper, and she had some trouble, which it does not mention at all. I'm going to make the 7 my top selection in here. I'm going to kind of take a shot against the 1, Love to Learn. I mean, if you want to use the 1, go ahead, but I'm okay with playing against Love to Learn, who was your runner-up behind Tool at Sam Houston 2 starts back, but just overall has not been a win machine, and I expected a little bit more at Oaklawn Park against that group. I don't think she was facing like the toughest group in the world there at Oaklawn. So we'll use the 7 on top. We'll use the 2, Headlining, who came to Sam Houston and was a nice winner. We'll use the 8, Rose LaRue, who should come rolling late for Carl Broberg. We'll use the 3, Amerdeen, who's a little sneaky, has some speed, drops in class, puts a couple races together now. Wouldn't be shocked to see her a lot closer than she was last time out, where she never really had a shot when she didn't break. And then, the 1, Love to Learn, who I wouldn't keep out of all of your exotics, but if you're playing like the pick 4, I'm okay with playing against Love to Learn. You just can't use the favorite in every single race, and I like a couple other of the short price horses later in the sequence better. I feel like they're ones that to use, and we'll take a shot against here, the 1. Let's go to race number 8, and we'll start with the 1, Trophy Bridal, who, I really like. Last time out was in the slop, and it was a slow start from the rail in the mud, was outrun, was double-digit lengths behind, angled to the center of the racetrack, and really closed well. That was going 6 after a bad start. Now you're going to go 6.5. You get a little more distance to work with, and it looks like there's a pretty good amount of speed in here. With I'm a Barn Cat, you know you're going to get some speed, and I'm a Barn Cat will try to stretch out from 5 to 6.5 furlongs. I think she's the one to beat, and she is probably the one they'll have to all catch and run down. But if I'm a Barn Cat doesn't win, it's probably because she doesn't want to go this far, and it's likely because she was pushed by some of the other speed in here, which should benefit the likes of the 1, Trophy Bridal, and the 6, Saucy at Midnight, who gets Parker to jump aboard, coming in from Oaklawn, and Churchill prior to that. They're just kind of trying to figure where this mare fits and what level she belongs at and against what company. So Saucy at Midnight is kind of a nice wild card to include in some of your exotics. I'm going to use 1, 5, and 6 in the exotics. Trophy Bridal, the top selection. We'll make a win wager if we can get like 6-1 or so. The 5, I'm a Barn Cat, is a must use. And then the wild card, Saucy at Midnight. Race number 9, 10 claimers, mile on the turf course. Let's go 3 deep in here with the 12. We'll begin with Blushing Kitten. I'm just going to give her last start, right? If you're able to excuse the last and put a line right through that, why wouldn't she fit off of the races at Louisiana Downs and Lone Star last year, and even the races at Sam Houston prior to that, when she won against First Level and Allowance Company? She likes this turf course. She needed the last start. She's going to take a step forward in here. I don't think the outside draw will hurt her that much because she's probably just going to take back and then make one late run anyways. So she shouldn't be the type who's like a presser who ends up getting hooked wide. The 11 will use Sage's Epiphany, Broberg. This looks like the one to beat, like looking for the back-to-back victories. I think she's a must-use. She's perfect over this turf course in 2, and she could be really, really tough in here. And then the 3, Magic in Motion. Broberg, the Broberg horses complement each other well in here because this mare has speed. She's stretching back out from 5 furlongs to a mile. If you notice 2 back, she finished second when she showed the way right here at Sam Houston early on before fading. I think that'll be the same game plan again. Put this one on the lead, and if she can steal the race, great. If not, you get the 11 Sage's Epiphany to come running for Broberg. So we'll use 2 of the Brobergs with our 3. With out of the 3 that we include in here. So the 12, Blushing Kitten, on top of the 11, on top of the 3. And then we'll use the 1 to kick off the 10th race at Sam Houston. That is a Fleet Sniper. A Fleet Sniper's December 15th race, going a mile. That's the one I like. There were 3 next out winners out of that race. The horse Kansas City Zip, who just beat this A Fleet Sniper, was 4th that day. And A Fleet Sniper had a good start, settled 5 off, was in 6th, made an early move up to 4th, was just a couple lengths off, was a 4-wide bid at the top of the lane, was up to take the lead, and just missed 2nd, and it really looked like he got 2nd that day when he ran 3rd on December the 15th. And then last out, he was away slowest, but he recovered really well. He was looking for a spot. He had to hesitate, and then he got beat to a few different spots. He ran in bits, and he showed that he has a little something, and I think he's going to improve coming back to a mile. We're going to put the 1, A Fleet Sniper, on top in here and using all of the exotics. We'll make a win wager if we can get maybe 6-1. And the 8, Tight 10. Look at some of the races that he's come out of. I mean, he's multiple graded stakes placed. He was in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He faced War of Will in the Lecomte. And after that, he tried an allowance race at Saratoga. He was behind Performer, who's a grade 3 winner, and there were 3 next out winners from that race. He took a horse named Honest Mischief, who is a $100,000 stakes winner at Laurel. Then you see Kansas City Zip, who has recently come back to win a $25,000 non-winners of 4. And Tight 10 last out was one of the best starts he's had in a while. It was a slow beginning. He wanted to get involved early, but then 4 others showed speed. He got stuck in some traffic. He had to tap on the brakes. He shuffled back. He lost a length, plus he lost some momentum. And then he got stuck inside toward the rear. He was up on the scene late for 3rd. He's not really like a stone-cold closer. He wants to be close because I think he's kind of one pace. So just expect them to try to get him a lot closer early on. I think he's going to be right up in the mix. The number 8, Tight 10. The number 6, War Argyle is no doubt the one to beat. He's been the runner-up 4 times in a row. Now he's going to go third start off the very long layoff. He should be absolutely set for his best. This should be no excuses day for War Argyle. And then the number 4, Bell Ringer, if you want to go a little deeper, has some speed. Was able to crush a field going long on the grass last time out. A lot of times when horses figure out what they're supposed to do, they get a win or two, they get a win, then they end up coming right back and winning. So maybe you include on some of your deeper tickets. Let's talk about our plays throughout the day at Sam Houston. Race number 1, the number 7, Quinn Ella, the horse to play, and let's play a pick 3. We'll use the 2-7 with the 3-4-7 with the 4-7-9-11 dollar pick 3 there. Let's go to race number 2. Let's play a pick 4, 50-cent pick 4s. We'll use 3-4-7 on one ticket with 4-7-9-11 with 3-7 with 1-9. And then our other ticket will be 4-7 with 4-7-9-11 with 2-3-5-7 with 1-9. In race number 6, this is the start of the late pick 5. A couple different approaches for you. You could play one pick 5 where you go 1-7 with 1-2-3-7-8 with 1-5-6 with 3-11-12 with 1-4-6-8. Play another one on the other side where it's 1-7. If you want to go deeper, you can go 3 and the 6 there. 2-3-7-8 with 1-5 with 3-11-12 with 1-6-8. And you heard the way I have the horses ranked in each one. If you need to cut them out or if you ever have any questions, always love to hear from you. Shoot me a message, please, on Twitter. It's me, Gino B, Facebook.com/Gino Bacola. Love interacting with all of you. So make sure the horses to include throughout the day in your exotics. Race 1, the number 7, Quinn Ella. Race 3, the number 11, Bob's Bad Boy. Race 5, the number 1, Big Tiny. Race 6, the number 7, Destiny Awaits. Race 8, the number 1, Trophy Bridal. And race 10, the number 1, A Fleet Sniper. Best of luck. If you can, please subscribe, rate, and review the show wherever you listen. If it's on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, anywhere you can. Share the show around with your friends. We absolutely could use all of your help out there spreading the good word, the word of mouth, for that's what G said. Joey Cleveland, close this show out, my friend.